When I started out this week's project, I was originally thinking I wanted to do a spooky haunted house for fall. Then I realized, wait a minute, this would make also a great Christmas house. So that's what we're going to do. Hi, I'm Myra with Boutique Paint. Let's get started. What I'm starting out with is I have a board that I cut. This is technically it is a 10 by 1 inch board. So it actually means that it's 9 1/4 wide ish, and I cut it to 13 1/2 inches. And I went ahead and made markings on this of where I want to do my placement. But before I did any of that, I did a sample board just to kind of get a feel of what I wanted it to look like, and also what medium I wanted to use for the stamps. And so this is paint here, and I'll flip it over here in a second so you can see it. But this is the mixing or white mixing ink from IOD that I stamped on this side. And I thought, well, that's a little too bright. Maybe I want something a little bit darker. And so then I did a lighter gray stamp. I didn't care for the detail quite as much as I did with the ink. Now you could always mix an ink and do it in a, mix up a gray ink, but I don't mind this, and I think it would show up better too. So I'm going to use this door here and this window. I did try this window and I just felt like it wasn't the right window. So what we're starting with is this board, which I already painted black, and I used DIY's black velvet. And I already made my mark on the board, so I'm going to start with the door. And so I made a halfway mark with pencil so I could see it. So I like using the stamp pads. They're just so much easier. Even if I mix up a color, I will put it on a stamp pad. It's just, I think coverage is much better. So now we're going to line up this line here with my pencil mark here, which is halfway. I'm going to put it clear down here at the bottom. See how pretty that is? And you can see the detail really, really well. So next, what I did is I did the windows, and I did mark those out too. So I came in, I believe it was 1 inch on each side. Oh, 3/4 on each side. And I went up 6 1/2 inches, 6 3/4 inches, and marked it. So the edge of my window will be here. The bottom of my window will be here. So we're going to go ahead and pull that off. And I did take some sandpaper, a 220 sandpaper, before I started this project, and just lightly sanded the stamp so that it helps absorb the ink. You can see I inked that a little bit more, so it's a little heavier there. If you don't like that, you can always take a paper towel and just kind of lighten it up. That was a mistake, or a happy mistake, because it gives it a little bit of like the paint's chipping off here, but it's still there type feel, like a good old-fashioned haunted house. There we go. Okay, now we're going to scoot this back up because I now want to put the lights on each side. So I centered the light onto this line here, and then I'm going to use the edge of this to line up with the door so I know where I want to stamp it. And that way you can stamp it wherever it looks good to you. I went ahead and did a line across here so I'd know where I'd want it up here. But that part you could eyeball also. I just thought it would be easier on this project to go ahead and mark it instead of just eyeballing the entire thing. So my line for the bottom of my light fixture is right there, and then I want the edge of it to be on the door frame. And then I'm going to flip this and do the same thing. I'm going to line up the center of my fixture here. And there we go on that. So next we're going to do the roof line. And that's a little wider than I want. So I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm just going to blot it off because I don't want this to be quite standing out as much. You got to make sure that you are over the edge of your house. Line it up. There we go. So what I'm going to do, because I need a peak up here, is I'm going to take a piece of the thin mount and I'm just going to set it there. If I can get it to not move. And then we'll ink up again. I think I'm going to go just a little bit lighter on my hand as far as inking that. And then we're going to line this up with the last one. Now when I lift this chances are will lift up with it. Just make sure you're kind of pulling to the side so that it doesn't like flip over on you or flip and goober up what you're working on. So now I'm going to clean that off. And you can use rubbing alcohol to clean this when you're ready to clean it, but I'm just going to get it so it won't get onto that. And so same thing on this side, is I'm just going to line that up. So I'm just going to push a little bit extra right there. There we go. Oops, and I didn't quite get that close enough. But, oh, I also want to stamp the top of this. That's one of the things I wanted to do. And I'm just going to do this kind of haphazardly. Nope, that didn't do much of anything, and I just inked it. So I'm going to glue this onto this board, and I'm going to use some E6000. And one of the things that I like the most about E6000 is that it is pretty thick, as you can see. And so it's really good as far as holding something in place while it dries. And I used to use this when I did jewelry, and it works really, really well. The only disadvantage is it does stink. And that's the only bad thing. I'm putting a pretty good amount on here. And then I got these little pumpkins from the dollar store, which I thought were adorable. It came in a bag, and I think there's like 12 of them in there. And you could paint those black, or you could leave them the colors that they are. So I'm just gonna, and this board has a little bit of a curve in it. I found this gate or this piece that I thought I could cut in half and paint it black also. I was hoping it was wood. It was in a package, and it turns out it's cardboard, but it's pretty thick cardboard, so I think it will work. But just have it cut in half and then have it sitting in here kind of open or ajar, a little bit funky. So I'll probably add that in here. So just whatever you might have around the house that you can put on here, or if you really want to get into it and go and find some fun little miniature fences or whatnot to make it, to help the embellishment, you can do that. So as I was starting to decorate my little house, I realized that a little pathway coming out would be adorable. So I'm going to take the brick from the Portobello Road. I'm going to use the same ink. So I'm just going to line it up here. Perfect. And then I'm going to flip it so that I'm going to probably have to do the same thing. I'm going to just flip it to the other side of the thin mount here. But the reason why you want to flip it is because then the bricks will fit into the little things here. I want them to fit in. Just like if you were laying real bricks. I'm going to start decorating now my little front yard for Halloween. And I picked up these cute little hay bales from the dollar store. I'm just going to put a few of those out. And then I'm going to put a pumpkin on top. And then I painted these pumpkins that came from the dollar store. I didn't like how shiny they were. Just didn't fit. So I went ahead and just painted them. And I can stack a couple. I'll just set them about. But there is our Halloween setup. So I used a little bit of moss. I used the dollar store pumpkins, and I used dollar store hay bales some days. And then also just put, you could get some of the orange and black trees that they do like Christmas, and you could just put them, or you could just put green trees. It's kind of, that's the wrong color because I used the funkier moss color because it looks more dead, more Halloween-ish than like a bright green. But you could get some black or orange Halloween trees. But that is the decoration for the fall. But as I was doing this, I thought, well, why can't you change it out for the holidays, right? I mean, this can be dual duty. Just because I painted it black doesn't mean it can't be a Christmas Victorian house. So that's what we're going to do. So now it's time to decorate for Christmas. So I'm going to take some fake snow. And I don't know if the dollar store has this or not. I think I got this at Michael's, but I'm not positive. But most craft stores have it. So now I'm going to put some trees, and I have a couple different choices here. I've got these guys, which have already got snow on them. Then multicolor. I'm just going to kind of play with it. I'm going to scoot some of that snow, maybe one in each corner of the house. That way we're not covering up our little light fixtures there. I also have a little wreath, and this was an ornament. Believe it or not, it's kind of tiny. And I just put one of these Zots on it on the back. They're little sticky sheets of paper that come with these little sticky dots. And I just folded it in half so that I could put this on the door. And that way I can take it off later. And then I've got these little trees. Wish I had two of the same color in these, but I don't. They've already got snow on them too. And then I found this sled at the dollar store. So I thought I'd put that right here in front. And that is it for this week's project. If you have any questions, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.